You and I got them doing our thing. Don't let guys lie. Funny this week, I know many of you probably were watching the TV from Rome and were seeing all those images that came out. And it's kind of humorous the way God works. I was debating with myself earlier in the week whether I should use the regular gospel or whether I should use the prayer book version, which is what I read to you today. Probably because it fits a pattern that prepares us for Palm Sunday and Holy Week. But more importantly, I remember from school how difficult this passage is, and I remember how easy it is to run away from it. And I figured, I don't want to deal with the issues of school. And then I flipped on the TV, and remember the morning all the Cardinals, they showed the news over and over again, the Cardinals processing into the Sistine Chapel, the door was going to be locked behind them. Well, what you all don't know is that two of the faces in that crowd are classmates of mine. Okay? Two of my classmates, Ray Burke from Michigan and Jim Harvey from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, are Cardinals in the Roman Catholic Church. I feel sorry for them because they're only Cardinals. I'm a parish priest. Which means I work with real people and God's people, and I feel honored. But I took that as a sign that maybe I think back to school days and face the text I have never liked preaching about. So let's do that. So let me ask you to look at it, or not now, but think about the prayer that I prayed this morning, the opening collect. Words that I don't like saying. Talk about saying, oh God, you alone can bring into order the unruly wills and affections of sinners. And I don't like being told I have an unruly will. I certainly don't like being reminded I'm a sinner. I mean, I know that, but I don't need to hear it. Okay? When I think of unruly wills, I think of Abby, our dog. You know, the one who can, she knows what's wrong, and she'll do it anyway. Okay? And she'll be sneaky about it, and she'll lie about it. And she's extremely stubborn and willful. And she is us, isn't she? In so many ways. She is a mirror to my soul. So Jesus tells a story, and it's supposed to get people taking him seriously. He says to them, imagine this. Imagine something you see all the time. A vineyard. People working in it. And imagine that there's somebody who's actually in charge of it who gives them the freedom to do as they wish. All that person asks is that at the proper time, I want to be paid what I'm owed. And they didn't pay money, they paid in a percentage of the crop. Okay? And I look back on that story and what I see are things about us as people, because it's really not just about the owner being God and the son being Jesus, which is kind of obvious, and the tenants being those in authority among the Jewish people. That misses the point. The tenants are us. We're the people of the vineyard. All of us. We are the people who are stewards of what God has given us. The gifts that he's given, the talents that he's given, the time that he's given, the life that he's given. And we're put in the vineyard for a purpose. And that purpose is to be in a right relationship with God. On Wednesday evening, one of the kids, the question of sin came up in confirmation class, and one of the girls, who I wish she were here because I would like to embarrass her at the moment, not because, no, in a good sense, because she hit the nail on the head. She asked the question with these words, what do you call it if you know it's wrong, and you know God would be disappointed, and you know your parents don't want you to do it, you do it anyway? And I said, you just wrote the catechism definition of sin. It could not have been written any better. So what about the folks in the vineyard? What makes it important? Why would he tell the story? Because number one, it speaks about our privilege, doesn't it? All that's been given to us. The fact that we don't have an owner standing over our shoulder with a whip telling us what to do, when to do it, how to think, how to act. We're given the freedom to use the gifts we've been given or not. God values freedom. It speaks of responsibility. Because ultimately, whatever gifts we've been given, however many times we've been given forgiveness for the times we have failed to use them, over and over again, eventually there will come a day when we have to give an accounting of who we are, what we've been given, and what we've done with them. Eventually we're all going to have to answer the question, what have you done with the gifts I gave you? How have you used them? You know, we know the words, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. How have you done that? It's a question we're all going to hear someday. So how have we done it? And where I want to go with this is to take you through that beautiful reading that Stephen read about Paul's letter that he writes to the Christians in Philippi. And he says to them, look, if Lent is this time to remember, be renewed about who we are, remember this. I was a person who was extremely faithful to my own religious tradition. I always wanted to be in a right relationship with God. And no matter how hard I tried to do it on my own, no matter how hard I tried to do it my way, I never got it right. And I knew the commandments, and I followed the laws, and I read all the rules, and I did everything the way I thought it would be. And you know what happens when you know the laws and you know the rules? Ultimately, if you do not have faith and you are not living in a personal commitment to Christ, all the rules can do is tell you what you're doing wrong. They can't give you the power to do it right. It's like the stop sign of the red light when you're driving. It tells you what to do, it can't make you do it. All my life, I've tried to be in a right relationship with God. And simply, God's been doing it for me the whole time. He's given me this one wonderful gift of faith. And what Paul says, Steve, you read it, it's not about knowing about Christ. Just like Lent is not about knowing about this is a time of renewal and reflection and living into our baptismal vows. It's about knowing Christ. And there's a world of difference between the two. You can know about things. You can know about people. But you don't have a relationship with them. You know, you can know the creed. You can know the catechism. You can read the scriptures, read from the Bible every day. All those things are good. All those things can be part of our life. But if we don't have that personal relationship with Christ, if we don't respond in faith to realize that we are loved, loved to the point that the Son was taken out of the vineyard, taken from among us, and offered his life, literally poured out his life for us. That doesn't mean something to us now, that all it is a bunch of words in a cage. Think about the person in your life who you love, who changed you. Think about anyone who you care about that much. When you know love, then you are forever changed. And we are loved by the Son who was taken out of the vineyard for us. So as we get closer and closer to Holy Week, my question is very simple. Do you know what was done for you? Do you know how much you are loved? Do you know Christ? This is a time of growth in faith. This is a time of reflection. This is a time of prayer. And all those things are wonderful. But do you realize how much was done for us? It's not about what we do. It's about believing what was done for us out of love and letting it change us now. And yeah, we still have unruly wills. And yes, we're still sinners. But we are redeemed sinners. We come to this altar as loved